Some mistakes will be made along the way. That's good, because at least some decisions are being made along the way.
Apple is the most successful tech company in history, but what if I told you that they had a ton of fails that you most likely don't even know about? Well, today I'm gonna be covering 9 of those, and I think you're gonna be really surprised. The first one is TAM, Apple's 20th anniversary Macintosh that was designed to celebrate the company, and it debuted in 1997, being one of Johnny Ive's first products at Apple. Now, the TAM had a peculiar design that featured 2 Bose speakers and a really big Bose satellite subwoofer. Now, we know that Apple really loves high quality audio, and here they went as far as giving the TAM a unique startup chime that you can't find in any other Apple product. This Mac was powered by a PowerPC 603E processor, basically the same one as in Apple's gaming console, which we'll talk about in just a bit. The TAM was intended to be a luxury item and it had a high price tag to match. This thing was priced at, get this, $7,500, which is equivalent to about $15,000 today, making it one of the most expensive base price Macintoshes ever produced. Now, despite its crazy price tag, the TAM was well received by some critics for its innovative design and high quality components. One cool thing is that it had a trackpad built into the keyboard at the time where almost no laptops had trackpads. However, the TAM did not last long, and it was discontinued in 1998 after just 1 year of production, making it a big failure. For number 2, if you think Apple released their first Apple Watch in 2015, you are wrong. The Apple Watch, as you know, has been with us closer to 10 years now, and we now have this beastly Ultra. But before the world was introduced to the idea of a smartwatch, Apple released their first Apple Watch in 1986. Yeah, over 35 years ago. While Apple smartwatches are super popular now, selling around 40 million units a year and bringing Apple more revenue than Macs, this Apple Watch is only as smart as the person wearing it. Looking classically elegant with white numbers ringing the board and the Think Different slogan against the black background, which is something that Apple was using to market, it had a simple, clean look, but Apple actually made multiple versions of this. Now, if you notice that the time indicators seemed off, that is because the time runs backwards on this thing. They also have the original Mac Apple Watch, which has macOS written across the band, and even this trash can one, which is definitely weird and very rare. As you see, you can actually find some of these to buy on eBay, but they will cost you about the same as a new Apple Watch. Modern smartphones have great cameras with amazing computational photography features, so much so that some people are asking for Apple to make a dedicated camera. But for our next one, did you know that Apple actually made the first consumer digital camera? I honestly had no idea. It was called the Quick Take, and it was developed in partnership with Kodak and released by Apple in 1994, being the first affordable digital camera starting at around $700. The Quick Take 100 had a resolution of 1/3 of a megapixel compared to 48 in the modern iPhone 14 Pro, and it could store up to, get this, 8 photos on its internal memory. The camera had a built-in flash and could be connected to a Macintosh computer for image transfer and for editing. Now, my old friend Gordon Lang recently did a full video on this camera showing off the software and the photos that he took with it, which is amazing that it still works nearly 30 years later. Now, the quality looks really bad compared to today's cell phone photos, but they did also have a slightly better version, the Quick Take 150, that had half a megapixel and stored 16 images as well as some video clips. Now, Quick Take helped pave the way for the digital photography revolution, but unfortunately, these things were not that successful and Apple discontinued it in 1997. For our next failed product, a lot of people have been asking about Apple creating a dedicated gaming console. There have been rumors about the Apple TV having a gaming focused version, but what's interesting is that Apple did already do that, and it was called the Apple Pippin, which was a short-lived gaming console developed in the mid-1990s. Now, the Pippin was designed to be a multimedia device that could play games, access the internet, and run educational software. It was based on the PowerPC 603 processor, which was also used in the PowerBook 5300 that started at $2,300, and a version of that chip in the TAM for $7,500, and this console was only $600. But the problem was that it competed against established consoles like the original Sony PlayStation and the Nintendo 64. It used a CD-ROM drive like the PlayStation. It could run Pippin games as well as standard CD-ROMs, and the crazy thing is that it had a built-in 14.4 kilobit per second modem for internet connectivity back in 1996, where it took Sony until 2001 with the PlayStation 2 to enable this. Despite its innovative features and early support for some game developers, the Pippin failed, mostly because it was super expensive for a gaming console with a retail price of $600 compared to $200 and $300 for the competitors. Apple sold less than 50,000 Pippins and it was discontinued a year later, so it was a failure. But the crazy thing is that even though Apple doesn't have a dedicated gaming console today, last year they raked in $14.8 billion from gaming, more than most gaming companies, so it ended up working out for them. And the next one is the Apple sneaker. Now, in the 80s, Apple was trying to get into fashion, complete with baggy sweatshirts, windbreakers, patterned shirts, polos, and even a children's clothing line. They also were making home accessories like towels, briefcases, and more, but these did not sell well. Steve Jobs commissioned the creation of the sneakers, and they were designed to reflect the company's philosophy of simplicity and minimalism, with an all-white leather upper, white laces, and a rainbow Apple logo on the side. Apple made a handful of footwear prototypes with Adidas, but the sneakers were never released to the public. People on the product team did stash a few, and they were also handed out at a national sales conference, and the sneakers since then have become a collector's item, with some pairs selling for tens of thousands of dollars at auctions. If you'd like a pair, you can actually get a perfect like new set for $50,000 from Sotheby's, or bid on a pair for $24,000 on Uncrate. But personally, if you really want a pair, I would get a replica for $450. For our next failed product, we have the Apple TV. Apple's been rumored to be working on a TV set for many years now, but other than some leaks, we don't have any concrete evidence. However, the company actually did produce a TV set of sorts in 1993 called the Macintosh TV, which was a computer that could be used as both a computer monitor and a cable-ready television. The Macintosh TV used a 14-inch Sony Trinitron CRT display, and as a result, the included credit card-sized remote could be used to control Sony's TVs as well. Only 10,000 were made, and they were based on the Macintosh LC520 that had a black design. It was an all-in-one design and powered by a fairly weak processor, 5 megabytes of RAM, and a 160 megabyte hard drive. It had a CD drive and a built-in TV tuner, so you can just watch TV on it. Now, I recently reviewed the Samsung Smart Monitor, same thing with the LG one, and this is a really cool concept, so it's crazy to see Apple doing something like this way back then. It was marketed as a high-end product and it had a premium price tag of $2,100. However, it did not sell well and it was a failure, being discontinued just a few months after it hit the market, mostly because of the high price tag. Speaking of displays, that is what our next fail is. In the last 10 or so years, displays have been very boring, very similar, most of them looking the same, but in 2023, we have this LG display that has a unique, interesting layout, and some people really like it. But did you know that in the early 1990s, Apple released the Macintosh Portrait Display, which was designed to be used with a Mac, and it had a unique vertical orientation that allowed for more efficient use of space. This thing had a 15-inch display with a resolution of 640 by 870 pixels, and that was actually high for the day, and its display was actually black and white, but it used an active matrix LCD that was new tech, which provided for sharper and clearer images compared to passive matrix. And very interesting thing is that today we are still using that tech. Now, the Macintosh portrait display was discontinued in 1993, along with the Macintosh computer that it was designed to be used with. Unfortunately, this thing failed quickly, being discontinued in 1993. Now, just like the Apple Watch, if you think Apple released the first iPad in 2010, you would be wrong, because before that, they had the next fail, the Message Pad. This thing was a personal digital assistant, or PDA, which was developed and produced by Apple in the 90s. It was part of the Newton platform, which was a series of PDAs designed to compete with devices like the Palm Pilot. The first Message Pad was released in 1993, it had a 6-inch black and white touchscreen display, and it had innovative handwriting recognition software, which was a major selling point. So it allowed users to write on the screen with a stylus and have their handwriting converted to digital text. While this thing received massive fanfare during its launch, it ended up being a massive failure, being regarded as another high-tech, expensive, but useless device because the handwriting recognition software did not work very well, which led to a lot of criticism. Despite its initial success, the Message Pad lineup was eventually discontinued in 1998. However, this device paved the way for future mobile devices, and it influenced the design of the iPod and the iPhone, and later on the iPad. Apple's next failed product is a device that I think would be cool to recreate today. It was called the eMate 300, which was kind of like a mix between a touchscreen tablet with pen support and a MacBook with a keyboard. Now, this was ideal for classrooms, just like many classrooms today, where the iPad is ideal combined with a keyboard case. It had a durable outer case, and it had a long-lasting 28 hours of battery life, which I wish we had in our iPads. The eMate 300 was released in 1997. It was powered by a 25 megahertz ARM processor, shout out to Apple Silicon, and it had 1 megabyte of RAM and 2 megabytes of flash memory, which just sounds crazy in today's specs. It was designed to be rugged and portable, and it had built-in software for educational use, such as word processing, spreadsheets, and drawing programs. Now, the eMate 300 could be used with a variety of peripherals, including a modem, a printer, and an external keyboard. Despite its unique design and the educational focus, the eMate 300 was a fail for Apple, and it was discontinued in 1998. Now, some educators and retro computing enthusiasts still have good memories of this thing because of its durability and the innovative design, but prices haven't really gone up for this vintage product, and you can buy one right now for about $100 on eBay. So go and check one of those out. So there you guys go. There are 9 failed Apple products that a lot of us, especially younger people like myself, had no idea existed. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Click that circle above to subscribe and check out one of those great videos right over there. This has been Max, and I will see you in the next one.